Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Restaurant Bets, episode 7. I believe this is UFC Vegas 27. Again, stupid ass names. It's UFC Rob Font versus Cody Garbrandt, aka Team, what is it, Boston Mafia versus Alpha
Team
Male?
Alpha Male.
Yeah,
Jets
so
versus the Sharks.
exactly, which I love that they made this matchup. I love that everyone knows if they're going to start a gym beef or a gym matchup, you got to lead with Cody Garbrandt because he'll make it personal. It even doesn't have to be personal. So uh, I'm excited for the main event because obviously I feel like it's been forever since we've seen Cody Garbrandt, even though
He said COVID, man.
for 7 months.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what
shit.
he said. He literally said that he had COVID problems for like 8 straight months.
And then on one end, you have what's his name? Smash You that's had COVID for 8 months crying about it. What's his name?
Who?
The guy that just I'll smash you, like the guy that just says he's gonna smash everyone. The
What?
guy that at 170 that or 185, he's like,
Oh, Kamaev. Kamzat.
oh
Kamzat.
yeah, Kamzat. So we have that guy that's been out for 8 months, and then we have Cody Garbrandt. It's like, no, I've had COVID for 8 months, but I'm still going to fight. So that's what we like from our red-blooded Americans. But though, like that's the main event. As far as the whole card, meh. I feel like last week really delivered. The week 4, we had actually a pretty decent card. I feel like this is gonna be the one that like, oh, we kind of lay a stinker. So it was kind of hard to find a few bets. I have only 3. Nick has only 2. So I'll get us started. First off, I'm going in Shabazian and Hermanson. First bet over 1.5 rounds at -135. I feel like I've definitely strayed away from the over unders. I've been going mostly just picks, and it's been working out pretty well for me. I think I had another positive week, so why not just change up the strategy and start picking over unders? Because why the fuck not? And this just feels like one of those fights because I think everyone's like, oh, Shabazian finishes everyone, even though he's the underdog. I think they think it's going to be like an early finish somehow. I have a feeling this ends up being kind of a staring match at first. And then if there's a finish, hey, just come after the 1.5 rounds mark. So -135, I'm getting back in the over under game.
That's an interesting pick, dude. I saw that fight and literally I wanted abs. I didn't even look at it.
See, I saw the fight and
Wanted nothing to do with that fight.
I'm like, I need to action on it because I am interested into it. So I'm like, all right, I want at least something. So I'm vested even more in it. So yeah, I don't know to make heads or tails. At first, my first gut instinct was Shabazian, but then I'm like Hermanson's. I guess some of his wins, like I'm putting a lot of stock in that Jacare win, and now that I think about it, like that was like the first of like, oh, Jacare's not really shit
Did
anymore.
heel hook Kelvin Gastelum too?
That's true. That's true. But
He is a pretty strong grappler, but it's lit. Like you said, he's got wins that have aged poorly, but also the thing that he really wants to do is Derek Brunson just exposed Shabazian the last
true.
go around.
Yeah.
That stayed very far away from that. First pick, I'm doing light, very light on the unit count this week as well. Single unit play in the main event. I'm also getting back into the over under business. Under 2.5 in the main event at -120 seems like stealing.
Oh, I
I
like that.
understand that Cody Garbrandt had the 5-rounder with Cruz, and Rob Font has had a couple decisions on the record recently, but I looked into those. His three fights that basically eclipsed the 2.5 round mark that went to decision since 2016 were Sergio Pettis, Rafael Assunção, and Ricky Simone. 3 guys who don't finish literally anyone.
Yeah.
And Rob Font, I do think he boxed up Sergio Pettis, but it's just hard. Like Sergio Pettis isn't a guy that's going to get finished. Like
No, he's a decision guy through and through.
he's just going to lose a lot. Like
Yeah.
if you've got his counters timed up, he's just going to be on the receiving end of that first jab and then just not figure it out.
Yeah.
I guess. And then Assunção and Simone, if they're going to beat you, they're going to decision you.
Sure.
So he's got a pretty long history of decisions, and Garbrandt's only fight over 2.5
Was Cruz
since 2016 is Cruz, which is it's actually kind of incredible that one went over 2.5, considering how many times Garbrandt rocked the fuck out of Cruz.
Sure.
Then you throw in on Garbrandt's side, then you switch it over to the offense. On Garbrandt's side, obviously he's got he one-shot sleeps most of his opponents, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And then on Font's side, offensively, Garbrandt will put himself in position to have his chin touched on the perfect spot in almost every single one of his fights that isn't the Cruz fight.
Yeah.
So I'm just really banking that somewhere in here, these two guys are going to start swinging, and either like someone's just going to get murked.
It's a killer be killed fight, and when you think about it, like that killing is probably going to take place sooner rather than later. If especially like the way like Rob Font, like you said, he's gone to decisions, but he doesn't waste any time like getting to violence. Like he's definitely an active fighter. Who did he just beat? It was pretty impressive because I bet against him. I remember thinking like
I forgot who the
lock.
most. Wasn't it? Was it Pedro Munoz?
No, it was actually it might have been Munoz.
Marlon Moraes.
Yeah.
Another
Which
Brazilian guy.
that guy's taking a fucking skid. Yeah, I was really he yeah. So
No, yeah, he slept Munoz or Moraes, slept Almeida inside 2.
does it I mean my
He
well
lost to Munoz by submission,
yeah.
and he submitted Douglas Silva, KO'd Matt Schnell.
See, like, yeah, he's there's a trend. Like he's trying, like he's had a few decisions, but he was trying to finish them early. And if there's anyone that's trying to finish anything early, it's Cody Garbrandt. Which now, like, I love that pick, under 2.5 rounds. I don't know why I didn't think that way because my next pick is in the main event. I'm going Cody Garbrandt over Rob Font because, like you were saying, it's a killer be killed fight, and I'm going with it's basically a coin toss. It's -115. We're gambling here. I'm gonna go with the more fun one. I'm gonna go with the guy I want to see, Cody Garbrandt, back in the winner's circle. Like, look how fun it was when he knocked out a Sun Sao. Like that shit was awesome. Like, and if he's gonna beat Rob Font, it's going to be a sick KO like that too. It's a little concerning now that I think about it. Like, if you think, okay, if it's set at 2.5 rounds, what has Cody's average rounds been in the last like 4 fights? I want to say
if you remove the Cruz fight, most of his fights end in the
1.25.
first round.
Yes, I would say it's probably right around the like 5-minute mark. So if you're thinking about like, oh yeah, you definitely have some gap if we're taking average time in cage. So I definitely like the under 2.5. Might take that live day of, but I'm a man of honor, so I'm keeping just the pick for Cody. And
I mean, the Asuncao one was the latest one because it ended at the buzzer in round 2. But other than that, he had Dillashaw, which ended halfway through round 2 the first time, and then Munoz ended in first. Dillashaw second time ended in the first, and then he had Cruz, and then the 3 fights prior to Cruz all ended in the first. Some of them were under a minute.
It's that Dominic Cruz fight was such an outlier in Cody Garbrandt's career. Like he used up all of his defense in that fight, and he's like, no more. Like I've used every last drop, every last parry, every last head movement. Now it's strictly plant my feet down and swing. And it was that before that fight, and then that fight comes out, and it's like, oh, masterclass, and then nothing else since. So hopefully, honestly, I don't want to see that Garbrandt. I want to see Garbrandt go in there and swing haymakers. So hopefully, we're getting that guy, and he pulls out the W at -115.
I mean, I also hope that Cody wins, but I just felt like the safer move here on a single unit play.
Oh, it's much safer. Yeah. Because there's more likely of a chance of him getting finished than him getting like actually pulling off a win. So I don't know why I'm betting on him, but you got to back the guys you love.
Yeah. And then lock of the week. I actually, here's a good one for confidence. I actually thought about switching this recently, but
I've had those
I didn't.
before.
I'm sticking with it. I'm going on a 3-unit lock of the week with Yan Xiaonan to beat Carlos Esparza, mostly because I refuse to believe that Carlos Esparza is going to go on a 5-fight win streak.
Yeah.
I am absolutely not sold on anything that she does.
Newsflash, my lock of the week's Yan Xiaonan as well. Did not realize she was on a 5-fight win streak.
She's on a 4-fight win streak. Which includes Michelle Waterson, Marina Rodriguez, who was hang on. I don't know why I didn't put this in my notes. Hang on. Oh, Alexa Grasso was the other one.
Damn, these are
And
actually like
and she
pretty.
beat that Verna Jandiroba. Now here's the thing though. This is why I'm not sold. Verna Jandiroba, which is the lowest of all those people, but still like a name that mostly it's kind of all right. Beat her. We'll give you some higher ranked people, but Marina Rodriguez split decision, which I personally thought Rodriguez won. Now that might have been because I bet on Rodriguez, but again, personally thought she won. Michelle Watterson, split decision. Alexa Grasso, majority decision. So the
Two out of
fact
three of
that
those wins too are against people that have a huge hole in Carla Esparza's biggest strength, which is wrestling. Like there's
correct,
like
and
horrible matchups for
I mean two of the
Marina.
three. I would say Michelle
Not
Watterson's
Michelle
wrestling is
Watterson, but 2 to 3 for sure.
reasonable,
Yeah.
but that's a Jessica I win streak right there.
hmm
Like you're just split decisioning your way
You take a
constantly.
magnifying glass to the record and you're like, wait, is this as impressive as it should be? Or
You're stepping up and you're playing two rows in the roulette table, and you just the row that you're not playing just hasn't come up yet
Mhm.
recently, and I think it's coming up this time. I do after watching a lot of John on stuff. I will say not inspiring that people that have wanted to take her down early have, because again, like you just said, the one biggest thing that Carla Esparza does have is wrestling, and she actually does have cardio, unlike
Mhm.
Claudia Gadelia and some of these other people that Jan has fought. Actually, will be able to chain wrestle for 15 minutes.
Mhm.
That said, on the feet, this is obviously
Yeah.
a complete no brainer. Should be just a and
Ass
I don't even
fucking on
really
the
think that
feet.
Jan does all that much crazy stuff on the feet, but she does outside of that upper the Rose Joanna Wiley threesome sitting at the
Mhm.
top of that division. I think Jan's probably got like the fast. Well, I guess Marina's actually got pretty fast hands too, but Jan's up there basically is what I'm saying in like top 5 for hand speed,
Mhm.
and Carlos Esparza is not. And so I
Oh,
think on the feet
she might
it's
be
just gonna
bottom
be
5.
like on the feet this should be steady diet of 1-2s. Mm, on the ground, I think she's gonna get takedowns, but I really even when she kept getting taken down all those times, yeah, and unlike Marina, who just is all right, I literally don't know how to get up. Jan spends the time that she doesn't know how to get up, and she's like aggressively throwing strikes from the bottom, which you're
Mhm.
not going to win a fight that way. But Carla Esparza does. If there's one thing that she consistently does on the ground, it's put herself in nonsensical danger. And so in
It
doing that,
stays there, and like I could see a world where she's just like in full guard, in Neon's full guard, just eating elbows, and it's like she needs to move, and she's just not moving. It's just it seems like there takes like an extra like 2 seconds sometimes when she's on like the mat where she's just like thinking, or I could see her like taking a lot of damage.
well, that or like in previous fights, she's scrambled into submission attempts from
Yeah.
Grasso and from some of
hmm
these other girls. And the one thing Jan, at least in the later rounds of, especially, let's use the Gedalia fight for reference, was like when there was an opening, she just get up and try to go. I mean,
hmm
it wasn't necessarily she was super proactive about it early on. It did look like she was pretty damn well stapled to the floor there for the first round, but in those other rounds, like she'd hit the mat, and then when Gedalia would just be gassed and like open up some space, she'd take off.
hmm
And if she could just do that, this should pretty well off be a no brainer. I'm
Yeah.
again, there's a, I think the matchup favors her. Look, she just has to not get constantly taken down. Like she can
Yeah.
let up a couple takedowns, but I think on the feet it's going to be pretty much one-way traffic. And
hmm
on the ground, if she stays as active as she has been historically, you're not going to win a fight off your back. Like I said, I think I've only seen that
Yeah.
happen once, but she can do enough damage down there where if she gets taken down for 2 minutes of a round and then it's kind of like, okay, she won maybe 30 seconds on the feet,
hmm
the rest is kind of nothing time. That might be enough.
Yeah.
It might be. And that's kind of what I'm banking on. Or she just shores up the takedown defense and then this stays on the feet and it's an absolute
I mean,
ass stomping.
good striking is a very good defense to take down when you're eating punches in the face. Yeah, my logic with this is everything you said. Like this, like I think there's the top there. Yeah, the Joanna Thug, Wiley. And I think they're trying to market Jan to be like, oh, she's like belongs in that club. I don't think she's quite there yet. I think she's just a peg down. But I also know Carla Esparza is not there. Like she is not even close to knocking on that door. And I'm just thinking, I'm like, okay, I think there's one person that's waiting on the outside here that deserves to be. And there's one person that is, I'm not going to call her a fraud, but like we just know what we're getting with Carla Esparza. Like these wins are not like, oh man, these dominated, convincing wins. It's like, oh, she's barely doing enough, and usually it's because of by the rule set. It's like, oh well, she was on top and she was controlling, and maybe she wasn't doing a lot of damage, but like she was on top longer. And I'm just not convinced like that's gonna be enough to be like a as dangerous fighter as Jan and like as disciplined. You know, like the Chinese don't fuck around with this like emotions bullshit. Like they get to certain positions and they're like, oh no, I'm comfortable here. This is what you need to do. And like don't freak out. And so I think like Jan's gonna be totally fine if she does get taken down. And like I just Carla Esparza can't still be good, right? Like we're just that's this we're not living in a world where like are we talking about Carla Esparza like title shot like that?
You
I just
have to like if she wins this one, I think you got to again that you're not far off. Like
yeah.
she will not get a title shot after this.
Hmm.
But if she beats Jan, her next fight will most likely be a title eliminator.
Which is nuts. And
Because that would be that'd be a 6-fight win streak with wins over Marina, who is on, a little bit of a tear of her own,
yeah.
minus some of these wish-washy losses. But she's performed well even in the losses.
Hmm.
Like she's been close to winning, I guess.
Hmm.
And Watterson, perennial favorite, also big name. Alexa Grasso is doing reasonably big things lately. She's looked much improved since losing to Esparza, so that win is kind of held up some nice weight. I mean, you go on a 6-fight win streak with names like that, and presumably you're going to have you get a Yan Xiaonan name and then one other name. Yeah, you probably unfortunately are going to be talking title shot, which, like you said, I'm
not ready to accept that fate yet.
On the back of 3 split decision or 2 split and 1 majority decision. I don't think we're getting there.
Yeah, well, let's
The
hope
train's
not.
got to come off the tracks eventually.
Exactly. It's basically her and Glover Teixeira are on the same boat for me, where it's like we can't. What this can't be real. At least this is not the best the weight class has, right? Surely it's not. And I think Jan, maybe not the best, but better, better than Esparza is basically what I'm at. And the line is actually pretty close.
Minus
But
125.
yeah,
That's why I
so
feel pretty good about throwing the 3 spot on the units down.
I'm doing a couple units on this play. But yeah, no. So those are bets this week. We're a little bit light. Nick eked out another positive week. I think I missed one fight. We're just rolling, man. So guys, start tailing plays.
The one thing I don't like is that I did peep because this card was just so boring that I just wanted to see what we had around the corner. A lot of heavy favorites coming up after the Memorial Day break.
We've had some fun. We've had a couple of fun ones where there was like a lot of playful bets. I thought a lot of minus 145s. We've had a few good weeks, and now we're gonna be back to like, oh fuck, man, we're gonna have to.
Are you laying 250 or are you just taking flyers on dogs? And so it's when you start having to get creative with some of the parlays. I saw Jack Slack's already looking at his all in on Coker. Like Austin Vanderford, Darian Caldwell, Cyborg, and Valerie Loretta is I think that comes out to like plus 115. Like
because they're all like minus 600 favorites.
Yeah, it's a 4-way parlay and you're getting scratch money. So
that's funny.
Pretty shit.
All right. Well, those are our picks this week. You could find me at Broliva MMA. You can find Nick at _Organic, and you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at The Rest Round, where we release our weekly podcast as well as our betting show. So until next week, guys, peace out, y'all.